Back into it once again with a very, very big GM to everybody out there. And we're back with another Dropcast. Again, as we've mentioned, after a couple of days hibernating in our bear cave where we've been very grouchy looking at all the drops every day. Not finding anything that was particularly phenomenal. But let's kick it off once again with a market recap here. And it's pretty interesting. You know, you talk about the fact that we were saying, you know, there hasn't been anything too remarkable here. You look at the volume charts, right? And look at what we're seeing here in the markets over the past sort of 24 hours. And, you know, no doubt even prior to that, over sort of the last week, we've predominantly been seeing volume by and large, Mick, cycling around between collections that have already released. Right? You've got your Karafurus that have been, you know, going up and down, your Azukis, you know, sort of ping-ponging around those 13s. NFT Worlds, of course, had a really big run, right? Good job on anyone who picked up NFT Worlds 2 weeks ago, 3 Ethereum, today 13. Woo. Nice free tenor out there if you managed to pick one up. The MFers as well, powering up the scoreboards today, up 56% over the last 24 hours to a floor of 4.7 ETH, which is just crazy. That's just crazy. Those MFers. I remember looking at them when they were 0.1, and I was like, these are pretty cool for a meme. I should buy one or two. Never did. Promptly forgot. Next thing you know, 2 ETH floor. Now, of course, today 4.7, well into the rarefied air. Our apes, our good old apes, are still hanging around the 90s as usual for the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and the mutants holding accordingly in or around the 18s to 19s, which is fairly standard for them. Clone Nexus as well, ping-ponging around the 13 to 14 ETH mark over sort of the last week. The Doodles as well, holding fairly stable here over the last week. Not too much variation away from their 12 to 13 ETH floor. The Hate Primes continuing their, well, they've sort of been ticking down ever since their pre-reveal floor of about 7, I believe it was, now down to 3. No doubt potentially continuing their decline. The Cool Pets holding at about 2.09, very nice. Hopefully we see a bit of positive action there once the game releases. The Cool Cats down just a little here. Little Heroes over the last 24 hours up 75% into a floor of 0.95, which is pretty huge. Just having a look here for any other winners or losers here. Warp Sound's up 30% over the last 24 hours. That's pretty nice to see as well. The other side down 10%. That's not fantastic. Down to a floor of 0.4. But other than that, really no notable changes. And this is the thing, right, Mick? The market almost feels like it's been a little flat over the last, week. Has it felt flat to you? It's felt flat to me.
Yeah, it has felt flat. And I am taken back to probably October last year, before we did experience a bear. It's feeling very much the same from my perspective. So similar sentiment, at least from what I was looking at then, what I'm looking at now. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying it's going to be interesting to see. If it does, then maybe there's some trending here. There's shared experience that we can bring forward and go, now we know exactly what it's going to feel like next time because we've got some repeated evidence. But, if we don't and it runs again and everything goes back to normal, well, something else to consider.
Yeah, that's true as well. And, with ETH sort of ticking down a little, I feel like the macro's a little bearish at the moment, which is sort of, dragging down Bitcoin and, of course, Ethereum with it as well. I have a secret hope here, Mick, that we see a little bit of stability. Maybe ETH holds at about this level for a little while and we see a nice old bull rip. That'd be really nice. Well, that's what I think. Anyway, I've just had a quick look here.
I definitely would not hate. Bull runs are good fun.
Oh, yeah. Although that's it. We are sort of coming off a pretty massive one. So it's also possible that the fun may be over for at least a while. Look, just having a look at some of the projects that went live over the last 24 hours here yesterday. There were a whole bunch of delays here, really. On the drop polls for yesterday, most drops had, I would say, socials that didn't quite cut the mustard here. 3 drops didn't finish yesterday. The Megaland Aliens, First 25 Belmo, and Leprechaun Legends all didn't finish here. GSD Traders Club was a delay. Wonky Donkey was a delay. And Megaland Aliens, Fury of the Fur was a delay as well. Wonky Donkey. I do love that name. When we were talking about it, and we did a pre-call yesterday, as we do every day. Mick and I do a pre-call, and I just love the name Wonky Donkey. I don't know that they're necessarily going to do phenomenally, but they do have a phenomenal name. All right, let's get into the drops for today, as usual, once again with our top 4 picks for the day. Today, first off, we're going to start talking about SoulZ first, though I'm not necessarily certain they would have clocked in 4th place. I personally don't mind SoulZ at all, but the reason why, of course, we're going to be talking about them right now is because they're actually on a Dutch auction, right? The Dutch auction's currently live. It's going on a Dutch auction from 0.75 ETH down to 0.2. Again, these are 7,777, essentially only derivatives, I want to say. But the difference here, it seems, Mick, is that the SoulZ are actually going to have 3D models that are going to integrate into an upcoming MMORPG, if I'm not wrong. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. And that's definitely one of them. There's an MMORPG. I think it's existing, and your avatars are going to have skins for the game, and they look pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome here. Look, the SoulZ straight up, I think, again, they're currently holding a Dutch auction price at 0.4 ETH. Looks like we're seeing 2,310 of them going on the Dutch auction here. 684 sold so far. Those poor people. But currently the Dutch auction here trending down now alongside the floor price. The floor price currently also holding at or around the point, now down to 0.37 on the floor as the Dutch auction continues to track downwards. I think if anyone was thinking of playing this, I think you probably know what you want to be doing, which is keeping an eye on the pending transactions on the contract and sort of timing your entry for when you're certain that the SoulZ are likely to be selling out here. I just want to refresh my memory a little bit, Mick, here. So why don't you take it away on the project while I have a look at that mint mechanic for the SoulZ? Because I think we've got the Dutch auction, and then we've got a whitelist mint, and I think it's 100% whitelist thereafter, isn't it? There's no other chance for a
there's
public
a couple
mint.
of mechanics. I think there's a couple of mechanics in the whitelist process, but that's ultimately the plan, to run the whitelist after Dutch. I don't really know why they choose to do that. It feels like it can be a little bit convoluted if not everyone mints, but that is the approach. Project's good. I think the PFPs themselves are really clean. Colors are nice. They put a lot of detail into them. We were kind of talking about the comparison to these to some of the other more popular anime collections recently, and how these can not look as polished, but they can still be high effort, like a lot of effort. And you look at the detail in some of the characters with the spirit animals and the mask, and the mask itself and the jewelry. There's an incredible amount of small detail that goes into the accessories of this collection because they've gone for that higher detail model. And that appeals to some people. I just don't know that it's as appealing in the NFT market. I think when it comes to PFPs, people like it as simple as possible, similar to the way that pixel art works. So whether that works for and against this collection, I don't know. But I do really like this collection. I think the characters are great. The roadmap itself doesn't really have too much in it. You're going to get a prepared dish from the ramen shop, which is going to act as a serum. So you're going to be able to transform your SoulZ NFT into something, as long as you're holding. And then they're going to create a vault for the community. So that on top of Metaverse and other bits and pieces is a pretty standard roadmap. Phase 5, they talk about a P2E anime game, which is in production, but there's no details I can see around it. So I don't know how far in production it would be. And then IRL events. So I'm not overly bullish on the roadmap, to be honest, but I do think the collection is quite a nice one. And the fact that they do partnerships with things like existing MMOs in the space, that's also shows that they're wanting to build out the utility of this beyond just a PFP.
Yeah, I hear you. That's pretty interesting to see. I do wonder sort of how low this is going to go here. Currently down at 0.4. These ticks not looking too promising here for the SoulZ at the moment, to be very honest with you. The Dutch auction is going down to a resting price of 0.2. right? And what's going to happen after this is it's going to go into a whitelist mint phase, essentially, where everybody on the whitelist is going to be able to mint at a fixed price of 0.2. So I'm not certain that it necessarily goes down all the way to that point. But, of course, as usual, as I said earlier, best thing to do if you're not on the whitelist and if you're thinking of getting some exposure from the mint itself, which is, again, ongoing right now on the Dutch auction, best thing for you to do, keep an eye on those pending transactions and enter only when you're absolutely certain it's due to sell out. From a socials perspective, by the way, the SoulZ do very, very nicely for themselves. 148K in the Discord here with 14.8% online. That's a very respectable percentage, right? That's 23,000 online users, which is pretty huge, to be honest with you, if you ask me. Additionally, on the Twitter, 161,000 for the SoulZ on Twitter here with a whole slew of mutual followers. I'm just having a quick skim here. You've got a whole bunch of Tsukis, a whole bunch of Metaverse HQ fam, so shout out to all of you. They're, of course, followed by actually a fair few interesting accounts here. They're followed by the World Wide Web 3 account as well, amongst a couple of NFT OGs as well. They're followed by, to be honest with you, it's mostly Metaverse HQ people here. I feel like I've been doing more and more following of Metaverse HQ people on Twitter, Mick. So I feel like my Twitter follower list now is just full of Metaverse HQ fam, which is great, but I can't tell if there's too many OGs following it. There's a couple of them here. Evan Tan, who's the advisor to the unicorns, follows them, and the creator of those polar bears NFTs, Alebsa Ozturk, follows them as well. So that's pretty cool, and they've got a couple of notable followers in the space. So the SoulZ, really, I think they made the list here today, obviously because they're currently on. They've got their mint currently ongoing. They've got fantastic socials, all things considered. So for me, given that I'm watching them right now, I suppose I'd be remiss to say they weren't anything less than a strong monitor, especially if you're listening to us. What do you think, Mick?
I agree with you. I think, monitor the Dutch.
Monitor, yeah. Monitor, yeah.
Strong monitor, I think definitely, at least for the next hour. Just stick around, see what happens.
Yeah, I think so. That's very fair. And I mean, if it actually does go down to about 0.2, well, I suppose then there's two considerations then, right, Mick? Which is the first is, is that really a good buy, or is there just no market interest? Like, which is it? You know what I mean? I'm not sure that I necessarily have the answer to that. I think everyone has to figure out the, your own strategy, I think. What are your thoughts, Mick?
Well,
do you have any opinion on that?
My fear is that this collection has, a core supporter base, but we saw that core supporter base kick into action when they dropped to 0.4 the first time.
Yeah.
Down from 0.7 or 0.8 or whatever they started.
That's right. On the secondary, you're right. Yes.
Yeah. So, it did get support and it bounced back up to 0.7. Now that it's retraced quite heavily below that, do we have enough? Yeah,
I hear you. And that I think is going to be a bit of a concern. Currently, the floor on SoulZ, again, 684 mints in total on 428 owners, holding a floor price of 0.37 against a Dutch auction mint, again, currently declining 0.4 ETH on 2,310 mints in total on the public Dutch auction. So again, good luck to anyone who's thinking of going for these. We're going to be calling it a strong monitor and moving up the ladder here, but we're going to be also keeping an eye on the SoulZ. I've got it on spare monitor here, so I'll let y'all know if I see it selling out. All right, moving up the ladder then, away from the SoulZ, which gets a strong monitor. If you're here hanging out with us right now, if you're listening on the recordings, it's probably already done with. So we'll keep moving on. Up to third place, we've got the Floppy NFT. These are a series of 10,000. What look to be, are these dogs? I can't actually tell what these are, Mick. I'm not necessarily... Floppies. I'm just going to call them floppies. There's 10,000 of them. They're going at 0.07 Ethereum a pop here. It's worth mentioning they've already got, about 45% of their collection size already minted on presale. It's already on OpenSea at the moment. But, Mick, what do you reckon of the floppy NFTs here? What do you think of the art, man?
I'm a big fan. I think they're bunnies, but some of them have tails that do not look like bunny tails, so they're their own thing.
Right.
They're their own character. Let's put it down to that. But
Sure.
I do like them. I think they're ridiculously cute, and they're kind of ready, right? A lot of these PFP collections with characters like this that we see, if you're going to transition them to any type of media, anything outside of the NFT space, that need work.
Yes.
These I do not think do. I think these are just good to go. I like the traits. I like, all the attributes in the collection work. They are while they don't all look the same, I think because it's the full bodies, they do have the potential as a collection on OpenSea to look a bit too samey.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But I definitely like the characters they've come up with. So bullish on that. Roadmap, there's not too much here beyond what you'd normally expect. They've got after the NFT sale, there's competitions, a webcomic, some merch. Then you get your 3D floppy for the metaverse. A token's going to get dropped. No real understanding of how you're going to use that. They're going to do a web series, an animated NFT, a DAO, and then you're at the end of the year.
That's
I do
pretty full
I can see on the roadmap as well that you've got the animated floppy there. So they have done a full running animation, and you can see the type of animation they produce. So when I see a web series and web comic, that's where I kind of think you could get some value out of this collection because they're ready to go and they obviously can make it. So if these are good, they've got some good writers. This could be a thing.
I hear you. And, it's, you mentioned it earlier. They've definitely created their own character here. I am inclined to agree with you, Mick, that these could really be, a thing, right? Their own, little standalone piece of Web3 IP, and that's pretty awesome to see. I do really like this running animation. I'm just looking at it right now, and it's actually pretty cool. Like I could see this in like a side-scrolling game, like a side-scrolling 2D platformer. Like this character is perfect for it. I do hope they take it up. I do hope they take, do something in that direction in addition or outside of, their web series and the 3D floppies. And apparently they've got a token coming and so on and so forth. Floppy's on the socials here, doing pretty decent as well. 26K in the Discord with a very respectable 25% online population. We don't typically see 25%, so that's a really, really good number here. 6,642 online out of 26K. Which is, again, nice to see for the floppies. On the Twitter, 29,000 followers here. Having a quick check of the mutual followers list. Pretty cool. They are followed by Klon, which is, not nothing. They're followed by the official Distopunks account as well, which is cool as well. And, of course, a couple of Metaverse HQ fam, as always. Big shout out, Max, not to see you out there. They're also followed by Odosuin, which is pretty cool. So a couple of notable followers here for the floppies, although not exactly what we, call a full, Hollywood sweep necessarily, but not too shabby nonetheless. I think where the floppies, by the way, do reasonably well also is, and let me just make sure I pull up this collection here, they've actually already got a very, very well subscribed pre-sale, right? With half of their supply, 5,100 out of 10K mints, already out on the floor on OpenSea, holding a floor price of 0.114 with 195 Ether volume traded. That's not too shabby at all. So 5K supply, 4,900, I would say, mints remaining at a mint price of 0.07, currently holding a floor price of 0.11. That's not too shabby. Especially when you overlay the fact, right, Mick, that we haven't seen, those inflated pre-sale prices that we used to way back in the day, right? We've always found, in sort of the last couple of weeks anyway, to sort of the last month and a half, the pre-sale prices have remained a lot closer to mint, right? So this is par for the course, but right. It's holding above mint, which I quite like. There's maybe 20% here at the moment on mint.
Definitely positive.
For the moment, anyway. So we'll keep it. So I think, and I think for the moment, probably ties it up quite nicely here for the floppies, minting in about 4 hours time from now. I think the play here, Mick, let me know if you agree, is to keep an eye on the pre-sale, watch how it eventuates. If there's still meat on the bone here when it comes down to mint, it's probably a goer. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely depends where things end up closer to the mint time. So it's still a strong monitor for me, but this has got good potential. So I may stay up to monitor this one myself.
Likewise, I'm going to be staying up to monitor this one as well. The Floppy's then getting essentially the double strong monitor, 0.07 ETH on 10,000 of these Floppies. Again, 5,000 already on the floor on OpenSea, holding a price above mint at 0.11 on a 0.07 mint. Good socials across the board, well-subscribed pre-sale. Keep an eye on it if you're going to be around in 4 hours' time. And let's move on up the ladder to second place for today. Really, I want to say second place and first place today were a tie. We'll get to that in a couple of seconds. But in second place, we've got the Three Landers. These are a series of... I don't actually think they're 3,000 here. I think I've got the wrong number here in front of me. Just give me a second here, Mick.
6,800.
Oh, 6,800 of these. Well, I'm not even sure how to describe these. You know what they look like, Mick? They look like peaceful groupies mixed with what are they mixed with? Like a different comic character. I can't think of it. It's not coming to my mind at the moment, unfortunately, but they do remind me very vaguely anyway of peaceful groupies. These Three Landers, of course, are going to be going on a Dutch auction from a starting price of 0.75 ETH down to a resting price of 0.1. 20-minute ticks down to a resting price here. Sorry, I think it's down to a resting price of 0.15. Sorry about that. But what do you reckon of the art here, Mick? And what do you think of the project overall for the Three Landers?
Look, the art here is nice. It's familiar, I think is a word I would use. When I think NFT collection, I look at these and I'm like, yeah, it's an NFT collection. You wouldn't mistake it. There's doodle vibes in there. There's groupie vibes in there. They are straight up PFPs. But they're nice. They're not low effort. They've done a good job. So I think, and the other thing going for these is the variability is strong as well. So plenty of people will probably rock these as PFPs. And I reckon that's going to be how to tell, at least in secondary, if you want to buy or sell. Just see how many people start using these post-reveal as PFPs. The roadmap has nothing.
Yep.
So I think we better read the roadmap out. It's just the best way to experience it.
Yep.
And it won't take too long. So our roadmap begins with you. And the part of this, we discussed in the pre, I'd love to use this in a real world scenario. I'd love to use this with one of my own customers. We say, we believe that the strongest long-term communities in this space move at the speed of friendship. I don't have to go too much further than that. There is no roadmap beyond that. So what they're saying is we want to build with the community. We want the community to help us in the development process, come up with some cool ideas, grow this collection out, and that's fine, right? But just be aware that there are no commitments that are being made to this PFP collection beyond the mint. So don't buy expecting anything beyond the art.
That is that's fair warning, Mick. Look, if you have a poke around, the Three Landers do have a medium where they do sort of provide some kind of outline. It does seem as though they do want to do something, but again, there's no commitments there on the medium either. There's basically no commitments anywhere to any sort of concrete roadmap. Just circling back again to the mint mechanics here. So what's going on right now for the Three Landers is they're currently going on, or they currently have their pre-sale mint window currently active, which has been very well subscribed, and we'll get to that in a couple of moments. In about 2 hours' time, they're going to begin their public sale. The public sales, again, a Dutch auction beginning at 0.75 ETH, descending in 0.1 ticks every 20 minutes down to a resting price of 0.15 ETH. Their total of 10k NFTs all up, and 6,800 were allocated for their whitelist, which they're calling their allow list, and everyone on the whitelist was basically able to mint for 0.15. So that's going to be the identical resting price for the Dutch auction. Obviously, don't necessarily think we're going to get there, as if you actually have a look at the Three Landers NFT floor on OpenSea at the moment with 6,600 NFTs currently minted. They're holding a floor, very, very nice floor of 1.2 ETH. So really good job for anyone out there who managed to get on the whitelist for the three landers. You are well in the money here, minting at 0.15. So congratulations to you. For, of course, anyone else who's considering entering, you probably want to think about the fact that the floor is very likely here to hold at that 1.2, 1.19 mark. It's certainly held over the last couple hours since the first time we checked on it today. Very likely going to be holding that all the way through to mint, which I do wonder what we see here, Mick. You reckon we see the Dutch auction go at 0.75, or do you think we see, the market wait and we see downwards pressure?
With how few is left, I would be shocked if these don't go immediately. I'd be dumbfounded.
I hear you, and I'm inclined to agree. I think the only thing that might work against that is actually is a fair percentage of them listed. Actually, I stand corrected. Yeah, about 4% listed at the moment, which is it's low, but it's not so low. Not as low as the 2% that we saw in Boss Logic's gauntlets, for example. So these actually do have a couple of listings here on the floor at the moment. Yeah, so there's a good chance, I suppose, then, Mick, that these go at the 0.75, and if they do go at the 0.75, it's going to be a gassy one, huh?
Yeah, it's one of these instances again where the projects are getting smarter, and I think doing a Dutch at the end versus at the start. I think we're proving that today between SoulZ and they're different collections. SoulZ and Three Land are not the same collection. Get that, but I do think if SoulZ had done their Dutch
agree
after the whitelist, they'd be in a much better place right now.
I agree, and I don't necessarily think anyone's sweating, don't get me wrong, on the Soul side of the fence, but I do agree with you, Mick, that, sort of looking at them side by side, it does seem as though the three landers have definitely taken the, how shall we call it, Mick, the optimal approach for value extraction from a project perspective. So I'm absolutely with you there. What do you reckon the play is here with the three landers, Mick? Are you going to be punting into them in 2 hours' time? What do you reckon?
Yeah, sure. I have no doubt they're going to be heavily botted, so I'm not expecting great result, but I'll have a crack for it. Yeah, you'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not certain that there's really anything working against the three landers at the moment outside of perhaps the absolute lack of any sort of concrete roadmap. But, that doesn't stop the hype. And I tell you what, the hype train does not stop for a lack of a roadmap, Mick. So I think I'm going to be right there with you, man. I'm going to be right there with you, buying into the three landers. I'm not...
Trains can't read.
No.
What are you talking about, Vigil?
I know. Anyway, you're right. They definitely can't. Just a quick mention here from Bunchu, by the way, in the Dropcast chat channel, that does seem as though the artist has a Genesis collection with only 241 supply. And the collection's called Three Land World. It's on OpenSea. Thank you for pasting the link here, Bunchu. Just having a quick look. These are at a floor price here of 2.5 ETH with 241 items in total. Bunchu here putting forth that it seems like they might be undervalued if they stay at pre-reveal prices, which is true. There is a good chance. You are at 8 here issuing clarification. Three landers is block start time, so not exactly in 2 hours. That's fair. You are at 8. Thank you for the correction. No doubt it's approximately at or around the 2 hour mark from now, but I do agree you should probably refer to their Discord for specific timings as far as exactly when the three landers intend to go live here. So the three landers then essentially getting what I think is it really getting the double buy recommendation here, Mick, at 0.75 entry?
I mean, yeah, I'm comfortable calling this one a buy, given how little's left and where the floor is at.
Yeah, that's fair. I just can't shake that lack of a roadmap here, Mick. I'm aligned with you only because I'm going to be there punting as well. But I have to say, for me, it's a little bit more of a degen punt than anything, because I'm not hanging on to these for a month. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you're hanging on to these for a month either, are you?
No, I would be selling as soon as I have a buyer.
Exactly right. So double buy then, but I think with a caveat here that I personally find this a bit more of a degen play again, because there's no roadmap whatsoever that's been committed to at all. It does look as though we've got, an artist with a reasonably decent reputation. Again, they've got a prior Genesis collection, currently holding floor prices on a collection size of 240 of them at 2.5 ETH. But I just can't shake it, Mick. This just feels a little more degen than usual to me. But hey, that's what we do, man. We are degens, and degen we shall. The three landers then getting the double buy recommendation, taking us up into first place for today, and it's Tsuki NFT. These are a series of 10,000. And, I kind of thought the meta was a little dead. So, but I think they might bring it back for one more last hurrah here. The Tsuki NFT, 10,000 essentially anime waifus at 0.15 ETH a pop here. The Tsuki NFTs, Mick, what do you think of them? Well, I know you like them, but tell us what you think of them anyway. And these are going, by the way, in 13 hours time.
Yeah, no, I do like these. I love the colors. I'm a sucker for when they do a really, really nice schema on top of the PFP collections, and I like Killer Girlfriends for that reason, and I really like these. I just love the palette a lot. I think they look great. And when you do bright colors, when they zoom out, they look fine as PFPs as well. So I think all around these just have a very, very cool, vibrant look to them, and the little characters that they have in their hands, very adorable. So you get the waifu and you get the character. So I like what they've created.
Yes.
The roadmap, it's got the things that you want to see. I mean, it has a roadmap. There's merch, there's 3D collectibles, there's metaverse, endless utility, talks about, what do they say? They want to collaborate with projects and bring you things like whitelists while you hold them. So you're going to get that in the Discord. And then IRL events, posters to OG members, an anime series. Yes, of course. I think anime series is the new merch drop. Everyone's doing them, but we've never seen it. And then the last thing is a vacation giveaway. So they'll be sending 3 lucky holders a 7-day trip to Japan. Roadmap's fine. Nothing special there. This is really a PFP play, and I think it's a strong one.
Yeah, I hear you. And look, from a socials perspective as well, I think that's probably a big part of why, Tsuki sort of ranks sort of where they do. 255K in the Discord is an absolutely phenomenal number here, although that online percentage, not quite what we really want to be seeing here. Only 7.33% online in the Discord. That's still 18,000 people online, right? That's still a great, it's still a great raw number, but when you take it into context, of a 255K Discord server, that 7.33% just isn't phenomenal. Still, again, very respectable number overall. 138,000 followers on Twitter for Tsuki NFT as well. Having a quick look here. It's also probably worth mentioning that Tsuki NFT, I believe, are and I'm not exactly certain what the term is, but they're one of the projects that are being launched, I suppose, might be the term, on the 721 starter launch pad, right? So there's I believe there's been a fair bit of whitelists into the 721 community potentially here. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. They're also followed by a whole slew of notable followers here on Twitter, right? I mean, I could rattle off the list here, but it's pretty awesome. They're followed by 999. They're followed by the Ali and Friends NFT account, of course, a whole slew again of Metaverse HQ fam here. They're followed by Bender, LV Spike 420. They're followed by the Alien Boy NFT. For goodness sakes. So there's just a whole bunch of notable NFT accounts here that are following Tsuki NFT. And I think it just goes to show, Mick, I thought if you'd have told me anime waifu drop this week, I would have said, yeah, I'm not too sure. But Tsuki NFT are absolutely bucking the trend here, and I reckon they might bring it back for one last hurrah. What do you think?
Yeah, the only downside, the only red flag I have, which is a bit of a red flag, it's a 0.1 whitelist with a 0.15 public.
Yeah,
that's just expensive.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I reckon they
so
know it.
I'm not sure how much of a. I think they do as well, but just in terms of secondary, the psychology behind pumping something that starts at that price, like a 0.15 public, it's got to move for you to be able to get your money's worth if you had gas on top. We'll see.
Yeah, I hear you.
I think these could viably, like, if we look at the other collections of the day, SoulZ was selling all the way up at 0.8. We're not there, obviously, but it was, right? So people are willing to spend. So could these go to a 0.4, 0.5? Sure, why not?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's within the realm of possibility. Certainly, I don't think that these are going to have the phenomenal runs, right? That Killer GFs or Zipsies or any of those drops did. I think the nail's in the coffin on that one, right? I think quite firmly the nail's in
damn it, Asuna.
Yeah, god damn it, Asuna. But how many of those did you buy, man? Dude.
Oh, just one. That,
I know.
I don't like seeing anything that high go to zero.
No, I've held mine from 3 to 0.3, my friend. So I'm right there with you. But the Tsuki NFT here, hopefully not going to be history repeating itself here again. I think they're going to be able to bring it back for one more run. I'm going to be in there punting. I do agree with you, Mick. I think that Tsuki is just a little bit expensive. We're going to see how they do on the pre-sale, though. We're going to have information going into this, right? So again, Tsuki not going live until 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. That's in about 12 hours time, give or take. The pre-sale goes live in an hour, though, 9 a.m. Eastern, which means you're going to be able to keep an eye on that pre-sale floor. You're going to be able to get a good gauge on price. If we've been totally wrong and it falls over, you're going to be able to tell by the time public mint rolls around in 11 hours. So I think that Tsuki here, because we lack that information, is probably a strong monitor here, Mick, just to test that pre-sale, right? Keep an eye on that pre-sale. Just give it a check before you punt 0.15 into it in 12 hours time. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. In that case, Tsuki then, again, a series of 10,000 what are essentially, I suppose, anime waifus with, as you say, those little cute little creatures over there that they're holding in their hands, which I do think are great. They're really, really cute, Mick. At 0.15 ETH a pop, again, pre-sale going in just under an hour's time here, 45 minutes time, with the public sale going in 12 hours time at 9 p.m. Eastern. Absolutely worth keeping a strong monitor. These ones get a strong monitor. Absolutely keep an eye out for sort of how the pre-sale eventuates here. And maybe buy into it. I think I'll be buying into it. What do you reckon, Mick? If the floor is like 0.3 pre-sale, you reckon you go into it? 0.2, 0.3?
Yeah, I'd go into it. Yep.
Yeah.
I definitely. So. I do want one, so I'm likely to buy this one.
Gotcha. Oh, you want one? Like PFP want one?
No, maybe just a hold. I just like the style of the art. So when I see collections that do create something that I like, I just assume they're probably going to do better after this. So it's a punt, but one is a punt, not a big deal.
That's fair. That's very fair. All right. So that was the Tsuki NFT then, essentially taking the tie for first place today alongside the three landers. Look, probably the only last thing to mention for the Tsuki NFT, which isn't that fantastic, is, we had a look at their founder accounts, right? So they've got their founder accounts listed on the site. We had a look at their Twitters. They've got LinkedIn's for two of them, right? They've got LinkedIn's for the dev and they've got LinkedIn's for the founder, which is good. But with the exception of the founder and the dev, the other two founders, Asuka and Aruna, both created their Twitter accounts essentially for this project, and it certainly looks to be the case, right? They've got 36 tweets and 24 tweets respectively. So that was Tsuki NFT. Again, getting what is the strong monitor recommendation. Keep an eye on that pre-sale as it eventuates. And those were our Dropcast top 4 picks for the day. So again, a very quick recap here. In fourth place for today, and again, primarily because it's going right now, it's the SoulZ Monogatari NFT, currently going on a Dutch auction here, now down to 0.35 ETH, by the way, still not selling. Oh dear, these poor souls, I tell you. Haha, did you catch that, Mick? These poor souls. I'm so sorry. Anyway, currently holding at 0.35 on the Dutch auction here, having a quick check of the pendings. No pendings, check pendings, no pendings, check price, bad price. Bad price. I feel very, very sorry for anyone who did buy at the 0.8 mark here on these souls, but looks like they are continuing to trend downwards at the moment. These, again, are a very strong monitor, especially if you're listening to us right now live. Keep an eye on that Dutch auction as it eventuates. Let's sort of see how that goes. I think conceptually it's pretty cool, and I actually really like the NFTs myself. Unfortunately, you know, at the end of the day, we're here to make money, and right now, there's a lot of secondary buyers losing money, so watch yourselves out there and keep an eye on that Dutch auctions pending transactions if you're going to buy. In third place today, we had the Floppies, those 10,000, well, Floppies. They've definitely done something pretty cool here, getting essentially, what were these here, Mick? The Floppies were basically a monitor, weren't they? Like a strong monitor into the public, right? Just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that pre-sale going into sort of 12 p.m. Eastern, which is sort of when the public sale kicks off for the Floppies here again at 0.07 ETH. You want to make sure there's some meat on the bone on the pre-sale before actually buying, right, on the public. So make sure you do that. In second place again, well, really here, tied sort of first place here. We had, of course, Three Landers currently going on a Dutch auction at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's in around about 2 hours time or so. Make sure you check the Discord as they're going by block time. So make sure you get the exact timing here from the Discord. Thanks again to UR8 for that info. Again, going on a Dutch auction from 0.75 down to a resting price of 0.15 over 0.1 ETH ticks every 20 minutes. And there's going to be, I think, 6,800 of these Three Landers. I recall you mentioning, Mick, currently holding an OpenSea secondary market floor of 1.1 ETH, essentially getting the strong monitor into, well, Mick and I are both personally buying. So I suppose, actually, sorry, the Three Landers getting essentially the double buy recommendation. That was right, although I felt it was a little more degen for me personally. And in first place, although really sort of tied with the Three Landers here, it's the Tsuki NFT at 10,000 anime waifus at 0.15 ETH a pop here, going in just under sort of 12, just over 12 hours time now on the public. The pre-sale starting in just about an hour's time. Again, make sure you keep an eye on that secondary market as it eventuates throughout the day. You're going to have data going into the public sale to determine whether or not the public sale's a buy or not for the Tsukis. But they did have very, very good socials, so we did quite like that. So that was basically the top 4 summary for the day. Have I missed anything, Mick?
No, covered it all off well. Let's keep watching the last little, Dutch auction price points for souls, and hopefully we start to see some action. If they don't sell at 0.3, I'm worried. I'm worried that they just don't sell.
Yeah. Imagine if they don't sell. What happens? They fall over.
They'll have to make a change, right? So whether they cap collection or allow the Dutch auction to go lower.
I reckon Dutch auction down to, well, if they lower the Dutch auction,
if they have real balls, they'd let the Dutch auction go to 0.
and then they'd have to make the whitelist mint price whatever the Dutch auction resting price was. Yeah, yeah, that'd be. That's an interesting one. Well, let's see what happens with the souls here. Hopefully they do begin to start selling soon, more for the project's sake than anything. Let's see how that eventuates. Anyway, thanks as always, everyone, for hanging out. It's been great. Thank you as always for hanging out with us. And we'll see you next time. Here's hoping. We might loosen the requirements on these Dropcasts so we can get out here and hang out with you more. Because I do miss it. So we might do that. Maybe we'll do like top 2.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a more consistent play.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out that gets us out here more often. Again, until then and until next time, take care, everybody. It's always good hanging out with y'all. Have yourselves a really good night and enjoy what's left of your weekends, your Sundays. And we'll see you soon next time on the Dropcast. Take care.
Good day, everyone.